what time it is?
It's Off the Hook, coming at you live from Ingopolis Square.
Yo, Marina, tell the people the good news before we introduce the stages.
Huh? Like, right now? What was the good news again?
You know, the single most important celebration of our culture, the
Oh, the Splatfest!
Ding, ding, ding! We've got a Splatfest coming up quick.
Splatfest always get my ink pumping. I've got to get my gear ready.
Yo, Marina, what's the Splatfest theme this time?
I'm too nervous to look. You do it.
Fine, the Splatfest theme is... What?
What is it, Pearly? What's the theme? Tell me.
Okay, here it comes. The Splatfest theme is... What's your style? Do you live for 80s rock and pixel art?
Or are you all about the latest tech and fashion trends? To be honest, I'm not even sure what the point of this question is. I mean, why would anyone willingly choose the old over the new?
Are you seriously about to disrespect the classics right now?
Look, I'm sure old stuff was all fine and good in its time, but times change. Old-fashioned goes stale, and old tech is straight up obsolete.
Please. Everything comes back in style eventually. It's all clinical B. And racking up high scores in Squid Jump was basically my whole childhood. I will sneak over to Inkopolis Plaza some days to play the old arcade machines.
Inkopolis Plaza? That place is a ghost town. Haven't you ever heard of the saying, stay fresh? How are you going to stay fresh wearing your grandpa's bell-bottoms?
You leave Gancum out of this.
What about you at home? Head over to the Splatfest terminal and pick a side.
Hello everybody, it's here to you, and welcome back to Let's Play Splatoon 2 Splatfests. In the previous episode, it was a fork versus spoon. In today's episode, it is September 2018, as we'll be taking care of retro versus modern. Now this is a very noteworthy Splatfest for a couple of reasons. One, you may noticing that's not my inkling on screen right now, because James was helping me record the footage for this, as well as the next couple of Splatfests after this as well, because at the time that this Splatfest happened, I was not in a good place to record stuff. The place I was living in at the time had terrible internet, and I was in the middle of moving, so like I wasn't really able to record any Splatfest stuff on my own. So huge thank you to TheJamesRolls for helping me out with this footage. Now, as for the actual Splatfest itself, this one is very noteworthy for a couple other reasons as well, because this is the very first Splatfest to use an entirely new system. So the previous Splatfest would take into account things like how many people voted for each team, as well as how many people won each match throughout the Splatfest. Things like that would contribute to who would win the Splatfest by the end. This one used a new system called Clout, and it's a little bit complicated, but basically, rather than taking into account who won each round, now it's looking more so into like the actual players themselves. So it's going to look into how much ink was covered at the entire Splatfest, but things like the team having matching genders and equipment and weapons and things like that will also cause a multiplier effect that will increase your clout. So you can have a really insanely high clout on your team if you had like an all-girl Splatfest with the same armor and same weapons and things like that. So that was a huge change they introduced. Now, they didn't really specify why they changed the Splatfest system, but it's speculated that because the original system was a little bit broken, that they decided to change things up to see if another system would work better. And I'm kind of glad they did that, because it was honestly getting kind of ridiculous having only Pearl winning the Splatfest for the longest time. Now, I'm fine with Pearl winning Splatfest and things like that. It's just that this time I was going to be on Marina's team because of waifu bias, so it was a little difficult playing several Splatfests in a row and just not winning them, because the problem with the original system was that so many people would choose one side. And the problem with that is that they spend most of their time playing against each other. And when you play against each other, it doesn't contribute anything to your team. So you have a whole bunch of people just not really contributing a whole lot to your overall score and things like that. And that would result in the other team having a bit of an advantage because they're pretty much only ever playing against the other team. And it is kind of a similar setup with this system as well, with the clout and things like that. But this works around that because rather than checking in with who wins and things like that, it's checking the actual amount of turf that you eat throughout the Splatfest. Now, the funny thing about this Splatfest using a new system is that it was actually kind of foreshadowed during the results of Fork vs. Spoon, because that was a whole thing with Marina kind of lashing out at Pearl because she had lost so many Splatfests in a row and things like that. So that's kind of interesting. And it's also interesting that we're playing on Piranha Pit now. Yay! Retro vs. Modern happened from September 22nd, 2018 through September 23rd, 2018, but this one is noteworthy because most Splatfests usually happen a couple of weeks apart from one another, and they usually always start on Saturday and Sunday. What I mean by that is that the month of the Splatfest, like the North American version would happen, and the Japanese version would happen a couple of weeks separate from that. But this one happened the same weekend, but started on September 23rd instead, because the Japanese version of the Splatfest, and I apologize if I mispronounced this, was the Tsubuyan versus Koshiyan Splatfest. This was to coincide with a special moon viewing festival that happens in Japan, and this is the reason why it started on Sunday rather than Saturday, so it could happen during the actual real festival in Japan, things like that. And what's really worth mentioning about this is this was one of the very few times you can actually see the moon in Splatoon. So, yeah, the moon was huge and things like that. You can actually see it in the North American version of the Splatfest as well. So you could see it during Retro versus Modern. And unfortunately, I don't think James recorded any footage of the actual moon itself or any Goppa Square or anything like that during the Splatfest. So I'm either going to have to find a picture or somebody who's willing to send me footage of that. But yeah, you can see the moon. And that's pretty exciting. And it's also kind of funny because when we first started this Let's Play, we were uploading alongside Majora's Mask 3D, and if you know anything about that game, then you know why that's funny. Another fun detail about the moon in this game is that you can actually see some of the craters on the moon are squid-shaped, so that's a pretty fun detail. It makes you wonder how that could have happened, though, because this game supposedly takes place like 10,000 years after the modern day or something like that. And I don't think the moon changes that often during that time frame. I don't know, something may have happened to the moon where some kind of crater like that happened during that time. And now for today's fan art, we have this super awesome artwork of Marina from Splatoon 2 and Yukiko from Persona 4 Golden, created by Mugomo Art on Twitter. So we have a human version of Marina cosplaying as Rise from Persona 4 Dance, and Yukiko cosplaying as H8. Absolutely love this. I love Marina. Yukiko is one of my favorite characters in Persona, so I just absolutely love everything about this artwork. It's so awesome. So huge thank you for this super amazing artwork, and a link to this will be in the description below, so you can definitely check it out for yourself. Does it still count as bias that I'm only using footage of James winning during this round? Because this isn't my footage, but I still only used matches where he won and things like that. Normally I don't really look at the results, so when I'm editing these videos and things like that, so it can be a genuine surprise. But I did this time around because there isn't really a whole lot of footage to begin with anyway, so it's like it didn't take that much time anyway.
Y'all know what time it is.
It's Off the Hook, coming at you live from Ingopolis Square.
Marina, before we announce the stages, why don't you share the breaking news?
Breaking news? What did you break this time?
I didn't break anything. I was talking about the Splatfest results.
Oh, the Splatfest results are in.
Alright, first, let's see which team was the most popular.
Let's find out.
Ba-da-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum.
Ba-da, 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 ba-da.
Bam!
Bam!
Oh, man.
Yes!
Alright. Now for the part that matters.
Yeah, popularity isn't everything.
Let's see which team got the most clout in normal and pro matches.
Please, please, please.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-dum.
Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da.
Blam!
Bam!
Are you kidding me?
Wow!
Okay, y'all, it's time.
The final results.
The winner of the Splatfest is...
Bam! Yeah!
No! Whatever. I'm gonna play away my sorrows with some squid beats.
If you want arcade games, you've got Squid Beats 2 right there in the square. Note the 2, that means it's an upgrade, which makes it better.
I am error.
If you participated in the Splatfest, your prizes are waiting in the square.
I gotta say, that line where Poro's all like, I am error, I absolutely love that because it's a reference to Zelda 2. And what's even more amazing is the fact that if Poro were to win the Splatfest, then this is what the dialogue would have been, where she would have been like, congratulations, but it would have been a typo, the same typo that happened during the NES Ghostbusters game, but Marina would be all confused and she would be all like, what? This attention to detail is just amazing. But now we're taking care of all that to run this video off here. So thank you all so much for watching this episode of Splatoon 2 Splatfest. In the next episode, it's going to be October 2018, as we'll be taking care of a very special Splatfest indeed, Trick vs. Treat. And next time, Lady Gear to you. Oh yeah.